Welcome to Behind the Doors, the podcast where we take you behind the scenes of residential real estate investing. I'm your host, Dan Noma Jr., here with my co-host, Marvin Cruz.
We're here to help you unlock the best strategies and practice for investors. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned pro looking to scale your portfolio.
We've spent decades navigating the ever-changing world of real estate, and now we're sharing everything we've learned to help you succeed.
From off-market deals to cash flow management and everything in between, we'll break it down and bring you actionable insights that can make a real difference in your investments.
So get ready to open the door to new opportunities and take your real estate investing to the next level. Let's dive in. All right, we are back. Leo Sanchez back again. If you guys haven't caught our long podcast with Leo, check that out. There's two of them. They are awesome, and we covered a ton of work. But these short ones, Leo, like normally Marvin is here. We love Marvin. Yeah. Hopefully Marvin's back next week. And you know what we've been working on with this is we've been trying to give real estate agents, like tips, tricks, ideas, insights, anything to kind of help them get behind the doors and get a little bit closer to success and whatever that looks like for them, and try to open some ideas up for them. But I've got a good one for you today. Like this one I thought about and I was like, okay, where has Leo been? So I know that you were one of the first hires at Zillow Offers, right? A bunch of friends that work there, you were one of them. And your job was unique, right? Like your job was to actually go out and find the real estate agent in the market that Zillow was going to partner with to be the partner agent. Like we as all agents, we got access and we could potentially sell real estate to you guys. That was an option. Wasn't the core model, right? But and say what you will, we probably should cover this too. Say what you will about Zillow Offers.
Sure.
It obviously wasn't, it may be one of the black eyes of what Zillow has created over time. But fundamentally, right, the fact that they deployed, you would know how many billions of dollars in the space, and actually it wasn't like they tried. They did it.
Right.
They were rocking and rolling and, made some mistakes potentially, along the way, which even the leadership, right, has come back and said, whoops, we probably should have rethought this a little bit further. But I think what's interesting to real estate agency here is how do you position yourself as a real estate agent to become an agent that's selectable, right? The agent that a company like Zillow, Realtor.com, any of these big Proptech companies would come into the market, or even institutions, whatever, we think about those guys. What makes an agent marketable? What makes an agent, desirable from these big companies? How do they position themselves from, personality all the way through to tools or team? If I want that kind of a business, what do I need to think about?
Yeah. First, Dan, thanks for having me. And I love the topic. I love that you're doing this. Dropping some nuggets and some tidbits for agents. And yeah, look, it's a way for me to offer some of my experience. Based on things that I've done in my career and being on the other side of that table when we were launching into markets and evaluating who was going to be our what we called our broker partner or agent partner. I'll say it was a very rigorous, comprehensive process, and I was fortunate to join Zillow Offers as one of the first couple employees, and was part of a panel, if you will. And as we continued to launch markets, we iterated and we figured out what agents were. What was it about the agents we were selecting that was successful, and we continued to iterate. And so by the time we got to market 25, it was a much different process than it was for market 1. But the fundamentals stayed the same. It's not like there's this this secret secret that I can change, this secret sauce that if you do this and that, this is what it is. It's a lot of stuff that's not going to be surprising to our listeners, to any real estate agent. What we leaned in a ton was a couple things. First and foremost, Zillow is a consumer brand, a consumer-facing, very, very mindful of their brand and their reputation in the market with consumers. And so, seeing that the agents we were partnered with, that was a core focus of theirs as well. You can say that you like customer service, you're doing the best thing for the consumer all the time. I can say that, you can say that. But if you don't have any systems and processes, what does your CSAT look like? How do you know that you're doing a good job? Where are they telling you? Where are they giving you these feedback? Is it transparent? Are you filtering that? Are you only using the testimonies that work in your favor and not the other ones, right? And so that was a huge area that we leaned into was the customer service side of it, but also the system and processes. So when I talk about system and processes, it's from end to end. Like, is everything that an agent does on a daily basis, what gets measured gets managed, and what gets managed can get improved. And Zillow's a very metric-driven organization. They like to see metrics around anything and everything. Yeah. And so the more metrics and the more areas of your business that you're measuring and managing and can show data behind it, that was a huge plus. I mean, again, Dan, I don't think I've said anything that's like rocket science, right? Nothing revolutionary that this super secret.
Yeah.
I think that agents and the good agents do this already. They're focused on customer service. They have system and processes. System and processes are important because when you're working with a Zillow or X, with some large enterprise organization, they work at scale. They work at large. They don't go into a market, or anything they do, they don't do it small, right? And so they want to see that ability when you have these system and processes, what that allows you to do is it allows you to scale, right? It gives you economies of scale and allows you to do it as you grow. The organization can grow. So it was customer service, it was system and processes, and lastly, it was about the core values. What are the guiding principles of these agents? And sometimes agents don't think about that. They think that core values maybe are tied to a large organization, or that's corporate speak. Yeah. But that's not true. Your core values is how you make decisions. Yeah. It's the fabric of your organization. We had our all hands yesterday, and we spent a significant moment of our time, right? In our organization, talking about core values, because it's important, and we want to make sure that we're all making. We all have that same moral compass, if you will. We're making decisions in the same way.
Yeah. I mean, you said one phrase was CSAT, right? And so let's unpack that one a bit for them. Like, I think customer satisfaction is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
How, if I'm an agent, how should I approach that, right? So I'm going to dip my toe into, I want to set myself up for the future, right? The next Zillow offers comes in. And I guess we should also say that the agents that were participating in that program were very busy. They made a lot of money during that period. Right?
And a lot of them are still working with Zillow. Most of them, yeah.
Right. Yeah, they did. And but customer satisfaction. How's it measured? What do they need in order to set that up?
There's a lot of ways to measure it. I mean, I think what's most common, and it's not only in the real estate industry, but you see it in an Uber, you see it in pretty much in any major staple of an Amazon. I don't know about you, but when I shop for anything, I look at the ratings, right?
Yeah.
Whether it be on Amazon, whether it be the dinner that we had at that we did off Open Table last night, we looked at those ratings, and so they got to be transparent. They got to be available to your consumers. Like, people, the first thing they're going to do is, who is this person? Why are they trustworthy? Why are they credible? Are they an expert in their field? So there's a lot of things that you can do to establish that credibility and really become that subject matter expert. Like, we could talk. That's a whole 5-hour session if we wanted to, right? Yeah. But ultimately, it's measuring the customer satisfaction of your consumer at different phases. So not just the end when they got their key. Sometimes
that's a happiest point.
Yeah, sometimes they forgot that you didn't answer your phone, for a week's period, because now they're just happy to have the key to their home. It's having asking for that feedback at different phases, in the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. And is there any trends, or do you start out really high, and as a transaction goes on, like you're an agent and you think, well, I've got this in the bag, I've already counted for the income, if you will, so I don't need to pay too much attention. And so different phases of the life cycle is really important. Is really important to get a true, a true measurement of how you're doing, whether you're an individual agent or a team. Just looking at one phase of the life cycle, it won't do you any service.
Yeah. So, if I was going to start today, maybe I would break up the transaction at from you got to choose me as an agent. Right. Measure that. Why? Right. Why did you choose me over someone else? During your home search or the sale of your home, when I was marketing your property, was I communicating? Did you get all these things? As a team leader, an owner, a broker owner in the past, those kind of things were the only way I could measure success, right? So if I wasn't measuring those things, I was literally relying on like the agent feedback, and that was always skewed, right? Nobody would ever come back to their team leader or boss and go, well, yeah, they just hate me. They didn't like me today. I didn't do a good job. Like that doesn't happen. So, I think that one big takeaway, right, is measuring your customer satisfaction at different points in the process. That sounds like a big one. And I know some of these brokers that you guys worked with, and these guys are running a business, right? They're very professional. They're running a business. And they were picked, so that's a good fundamental baseline. But I think the other thing I heard you say was like, they've got to have good systems and processes, right? And I think I've heard Tom Ferry say this. I've heard like a bunch of other, educators in the space say that, they'll go, what CRMs are you working with? Or what CRM do you use, right? And you probably heard me say this too, is that the CRM that you're choosing, right, or the system that you're choosing to work in is only as good as the people using it, right? It doesn't
1,000%.
right. So it wasn't like you were picking them based on which CRM they used, right? Like
they all pretty much fundamentally do the same thing, and it's no bash at any CRM out there, but it's a customer relationship management tool. Like, there's only so much you can do, right?
Yeah, it does stuff, and you actually have a system and process. Like if the sky turns purple, you've got a process to lean on, and this system will walk you through each step of the way. That is so like critical, especially if you want to scale or be an operator for any one of these big companies or big groups that come into town in your market is, setting yourself up for success, even at whatever scale you're at, right? If it's just you on a team,
right?
Use a CRM, right? Like I know in your mind, you're like, oh, well, it's just extra work. As you scale, it becomes like everything to you, right? It's just, it's a huge thing. I can't like stress that enough to agents. That's a huge thing.
Can't agree with you more. Yeah. If you're starting with a mighty team of one, start adopting it yourself. Because then if you can't use it, what makes you think you can help others? Adopt something or see the benefit. So you got to lead by example, without a doubt.
Yeah, and you can't one of the analogies I've heard somebody say that was like a CRM founder, is he said to me, you can pick up like IKEA box of furniture, right? And you could probably build it without the instructions. Like you could.
Yeah, why would you?
Right. But why?
Right. Well, why?
So like when I hear agents are like, well, I don't even need a CRM, or I don't use it, or I'm not.
You can get a deal done without a CRM.
For sure. Yeah. But then you don't know anything about your business. Like, you don't know, you can't measure quality through like each step of the process, or you can't measure like how much time you're spending on a certain area of the business to go, okay, how do I get more efficient at that so I can free myself up to go do more transactions over here? The measurability that you can get from like the right system and actually using it is totally invaluable. And I think like a lot of agents just miss it, and they're like, well, everybody's using a tool, so I should use a tool. No. Right. It's like a foundation. Like you've gotta lean into it, and just, especially now, they're so good. Like they're so good. They do a lot of work for you. Like you can be so much more efficient with the right tools.
Dan, I would ask you one question, because your Rolodex is much deeper than mine as when it comes to the agent community. Do you personally know a top recognized agent producer that doesn't have systems in place? No. We're talking about a CRM. Yeah. We're picking on one specifically, but do you know any?
No. In fact, like,
case in point,
even when I'm in rooms with, say the top agents in any given market, right? We'll aggregate them at a dinner, do a mastermind with them, whatever. It is one of the topics of conversation, right? Like everybody wants to know what everybody else is using, because it's such a big part of our day, right? It's such a big piece of that element that it's like talking about your kids, right? It's just like, it's that important to your high producer or your professional. So I think it's a good tip, man. I think that a lot of agents kind of wonder. I get asked the question, they're like, well, why do you get all these institutional contracts? Well, I've got a pretty amazing system and process to be able to evaluate deals. And that's how I do this, right? That's kind of the general answer. But same thing for an agent. If you want to work with like one of these bigger groups or coming into town, or you want to work with these high level companies, it comes down to, you got to have a system. You got to have a really good process. And then you've got to have, like, they got to know that you care about your business and the customers on the other side of this thing. Like you're serving people in a way that's like measurable and it can work.
Yeah. Yeah, couldn't agree with you more. Deal breaker, right? When we were looking, if you're not measuring things, you don't have system and processes. Selfishly, we can't scale.
Yep.
And we're going to have issues, and so it's not even, you won't even get the meeting.
Yep.
It's a deal breaker.
I don't care if you build it on the back of your computer, whatever you build your own CRM. Go get it. Go get something that you can start to use and leverage to create a good system in your business. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Behind the Doors. We hope you found today's insights valuable for your real estate investing journey.
Remember, real estate success doesn't happen overnight, but with the right tools and strategies, you can build long-term wealth and create passive income.
If you enjoyed the show, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with others who are passionate about real estate investing.
Don't forget to follow us on social media for more tips and exclusive content.
Until next time, keep unlocking new opportunities, and we'll see you on the next episode of Behind the Doors.